Right. We are back for a coffee chat, and we had to switch channels last week because I was on the naughty step again. And I know I'm laughing about it, but actually, I did a quick live this morning, Brice, just to tell everyone why, because everyone doesn't realize that when you're on a ban, you can't post anything or respond or anything. So people think that you're just taking a nice holiday. Well, it wasn't. But what I was saying this morning, Brice, is actually it's really people, I don't want to use the word worry, but it's really something that I think people need to be aware of how deep the censorship is and how stunted we have to be about what we can and can't share on this platform. And now about how there's a new one that's put in, so we're not even going to be able to put the link to the full videos below. It's a sign of the times, and we're pretty resourceful at working through it, but it's a real issue now, isn't it, Bryce?
Yeah, so you guys are just gonna have to go ahead and subscribe to our backup platforms because that when you told me, because I haven't even read that email because it's
Yeah.
early here. Um, when you told me that, Catherine, I was like, these sons of bitch,
Mm.
like these little they and it's not, and I will say, because Catherine, you and I are big fans of Andrew Gold, his
Yeah.
channel. And he's not part of our community, but other people are dealing with this as well. It's not just our
Absolutely.
community that's dealing with it, and other communities have kind of figured that out as well, that there are these other platforms that they can link to. So I guess, instead of the powers that be that control this particular, I'm trying to be careful about what I
Yeah.
say, this particular videoing thing. I'm not even going to use the P
Mm.
word because are now, instead of saying oops, maybe we should be a little bit not as strict on people, they're actually doubling down at this point.
Doubling down. And we keep going. And one of the things that Bryce and I always want to do with our coffee chat is share what's working for us, what's not working for us. And really about, I've got a video that is going to be posting tomorrow with Jason Shirker that I recorded at the beginning of the week, but obviously haven't been able to post. But I think in that video, there's some really, really helpful things. Please look out for that tomorrow about how what we do is we're aware of the challenges. We keep ourselves abreast of the challenges that are being thrown at us so that we can then use that information to divert it into solutions for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowledge is power, knowledge protects.
Yeah.
So if you even though we don't like the circumstances, now we have that information so we can go and protect ourselves better. And so yeah, so you guys know where we are. I'm trying not to say the R word,
No.
the service that has the R word, but go and subscribe and make sure, so because we won't be able to notify you in the way we typically do at this point.
Yeah, and I have got a T channel as well. Well, I've got two, so I will also be using that to repost Bryce's videos that are elsewhere as well. So Bryce and I, she will be able to put all her alternative places to find information. So will I. And that leads us on to another thing, because one of the other areas that is really, really difficult to talk about openly is taking control of our sovereignty for our health and our finances. And as you all know, this Bryce and I, we work very closely with Asea. And actually, we now work together with Asea and also with Jay and April. And I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to be doing something. It's our own businesses and we do it our own way, but working with people that are creating how they want the world to be, not trying to fight what we don't want. And of course, there's places for both, but anyone who's got negative connotations about these companies that are really giving us tools to take back our health, but also to take back our wealth. Because for me, it's a completely the dark side that are putting out rumors that these things are bad, and that things like, for example, the network marketing doesn't serve people. Because what do the dark side want to do? They want to keep people controlled. And if you can control their finances, you can control the person. If you control their food, you control the person. If you control their health, you control the person. So having things like Asea, which not only helps us make better decisions because it's connecting us with our intuition better, it's getting our health up to the next level, but it's also contributing financially, because every single person watching this video, Bryce, we all need alternative forms of income now, don't we?
Oh, my my dad's dad, I said this with Jay. I don't know if we said it on a video or off camera. My dad's dad, my paternal grandfather, died a very wealthy man. And he would say all the time that the biggest mistake you can make is putting all your eggs in one basket. He
Mm.
had multiple streams of income. And that included like the stock market. Yes, he had stocks as well, but he had his hands in a lot of different things. And it was very beneficial for him. And he was right, because if one thing falls, then okay, you've still got all these other things as well. And so absolutely, and I will say like Asea has changed my life. Like and I'm so grateful to you, Catherine, and to Jay for bringing that into my life, because not only is the product on a very personal level helped me, and I'm a relatively healthy person and I'm seeing huge differences. It's also helped my boyfriend. I somebody commented in our video I did unboxing the anti-aging stuff about how beautiful we were looking. So thank you to the person who said
Oh,
that.
God,
That is
that. Thank you.
yes, thank you to the person they mentioned you, Catherine, and myself, and so thank you very much. But somebody also mentioned that they noticed that you and I, our hair had gotten like appeared to be thicker. Now I do have thick hair, but my hair is growing faster. My nails are growing faster, which is a sign. My mom's family, they're all doctors. And I will say, and I know I've said that before, but when I was a little kid, when I would go to my mom's family, and even my father, who's a veterinarian, that you know what they would do every time they would grab our hands and look at our nails.
Yeah.
My grandfather would always look at our nails. My dad would look at our nails because that would show them how really what was going on with our health, to see what our nails looked like. And so when you're noticing like Catherine's hair getting thicker, my hair growing faster, the nails getting longer, it's showing you that the body is in a state of good health at that point, that it's able to produce that. My boyfriend, who is in his 50s, is, you know, as most men do, his hair is thinning, and he really did not believe the hype that the hair could grow back. And the other day he came in, he was like, son of a gun, he was like, look at this, I have like baby hair. And he's got like baby hair growing back, and I took a picture of it, and he's gonna wait in a month and take another picture from the gel. So this is something not only financially is really helping a lot, but just the quality of living, just the day-to-day quality of living, the recovery from working out, the just the redox, having that back in my system as well. And it's amazing. I get my mask today too, so I'm so
Oh,
excited.
you're so lucky. We can't get the masks in the UK yet, but I use green clay all the time for the animals. But yeah, there's so much to be grateful for. And what I think is one of the things I wanted to talk about today is absolutely to keep yourself abreast of what's going on. If you do it from an attitude of, and how am I going to use this information constructively? So we can all listen to the same information, and we could go into a fear mode, or we could go into a constructive action mode. I'm all about rebuilding, building what we want. I'm not going to be wasting my energy on fighting what we don't want. No judgment there, because all of us have got our different rules and everything. But the thing is, I know what works for me, and I'm like you and we're both real passionate researchers. So I can now have the ability 9.9 times out of 10, not 100% of the time, to listen to information and not let that drop my vibration quickly, to go into fantastic. Now I know what I've got to come up with a solution for.
Absolutely. And I was telling you, Catherine, and I know a lot of people. I last night I was texting with you that we had a crazy day in Atlanta, Georgia yesterday. I'll be careful how I say this, because of where we are with this video. But we had a guy that will say he was at a big hospital here in Atlanta, and he borrowed a car without somebody's permission. I don't know if I can say the word, what that word is. um and so it caused, and there was some stuff going on in the city because of that with these. And so I yesterday my day was shot. Like I couldn't do anything, we couldn't leave the house, like there was a lot going on. And I woke up this morning, and I don't know, I was telling you, Catherine, before we started filming, I don't know if it was from yesterday or if it's just the energy in the air, but I woke up this morning in kind of I was feeling panicky. I was feeling
Yeah.
like that gross kind of like, and I guess people watching, it's that gross feeling where you're like, I don't know why I'm panicked, but I don't like it. And I think a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this as well. what we tend to do is feed into it.
Yeah.
But what we know is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So the anxiety I was feeling was energy that was already there that for some reason I transmuted into anxiety. So I then have the power to now transmute it back. And so this morning for my practice, I did a 45-minute kickboxing video to try to transmute. And I felt so much better when I was done, getting the heart rate up, getting the blood, getting that stuck energy, because that's what it is to be unstuck in the system. And I think so many people fall victim to their own thoughts, their own thoughts are energy, thoughts are vibration. So the depression, the anxiety, I'm not saying that's not real, guys. Catherine and I have both understand that. We've both struggled with it ourselves. But and if you are really in a serious situation, check yourself into a hospital. Please take care of yourself. Check yourself into go see a therapist. But for the little bumps that we hit along the way, if we dwell on it, it's just going to intensify and get bigger. Instead, if we take that, if we see the issue as it is and say, okay, I'm in control of this. This is my responsibility. Nobody can change the way I'm feeling but me. What am I going to do to change that? For me this morning it was kickboxing, because I understand the flushing of energy. It can be or something as simple as go for a walk, get out in nature, get the oxygen in your system. I mean, there's so much you can do instead of falling victim and shutting yourself off from the world.
It's so important because so many people at the moment are just shutting themselves off. And unfortunately, there's only one way normally that's going to go, which is downhill. Whereas actually, it can be exercise. We know an exercise is a brilliant way, as you said, to shift the energy. It can be going and doing a good deed for someone else, because that will shift energy and transmute it into something positive really quickly. It can be doing something that takes you into a calm state of mind. It might be mindfulness, it might be meditation, it can be breathing exercises are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Wim Hof specializes in that for people that have got depression, anxiety, about how you can literally shift that by his breathing techniques. There's so many resources out there available for people, but everyone can share this information, but what they can't do is do it for you. And what we're seeing now is a huge collapse, and it's deliberate. I have no doubt about it at all that it's deliberate, because the resilience levels are being chipped away at due to the food, the air, the water, the news, the control mechanisms and everything. And so therefore, for me, we have to up our game. We have to, as individuals, particularly though, everyone watching this is going to be an adult, we're responsible for ourselves, and we've got enough tools in our toolkits now. I don't believe there's anyone watching this that our listeners are sorry, I keep fiddling with my hair because I've got something in it. I know it's annoying. It's really annoying when people see people on screen fiddling with their hair. I do get it, folks. But yeah, I think, everyone here, we've all got a lot of tools in our toolkit. The important thing is once we recognize it, we take action to shift it and play about and find what works for you. But if you're going to take yourself and allow yourself that slippery slope into victim mentality, then it's really difficult for people to reach you. And everyone's going to do it from time to time. Again, there's no shame involved in this, but the quicker we recognize it, the quicker we can course correct and get ourselves back on track.
Absolutely. That's the one thing, like, I think that kind of the common theme of our coffee chats is like we want everybody watching to understand how truly powerful you are.
Mm.
And the bad guys will say they know how powerful you are. So they're going to feed you into this idea that you have to like kind of be in this like victim mentality and like it, but that's giving your power away. Nobody said being a human was ever going to be easy. Nothing that is really good is ever easy. Sometimes that work, that friction that these mental blockages are providing you are opportunities for you to actually really get to know yourself and take your own power back. It's like, and with the exercise especially, it's one of my favorite movies is Legally Blonde. And when she's for those who haven't seen, I know a lot of people have, but she's assisting in this case, for the M crime, you guys, where you're removing somebody's life. Again, we have to be careful about what we're saying. And the person on trial is this woman who does all these exercise videos, right, back in the day. And the main person, Elle, is like, no, she didn't do it. She's innocent. She's innocent. And she goes, listen, She exercise give you endorphins make you happy people don't kill their husbands, right? And it's
Yeah,
so true. It's funny because it's true. You do get endorphins from exercise. So if the thought is coming from your brain, this thought that's bringing you into a lower vibration, whether that's depression, anxiety, yes, acknowledge it, figure out why it's there, but also understand that that same brain can also chemically provide you with the antidote, which is endorphins. And getting that,
completely.
and so it just makes sense. And so I would really, I mean, for people that do find themselves getting caught in that like hamster wheel, that samskaric, like caught in that depression, that woe is me, you don't have to be an Olympic athlete. Just go for a 30-minute walk. Like,
Completely. And animals teach us. We've talked about before about how much the dogs and cats and horses will stretch. They'll
mhm.
shake themselves out. It's not a real, there's no accident why so many yoga poses are named after animals,
Yep.
because
Oh,
they teach
absolutely.
us what to do, and they don't sit there holding on to it. They'll shake it out, they'll stretch it out, they'll move, they'll yawn and release it. So try what you need to do. And we talk about humor a lot. Recognize when you set into that mentality, because yes, there's so many degrees. This is a sliding scale, but a lot of people are acting like teenage brats now,
Yeah.
and not
Oh,
teenagers anymore. Because
yeah.
when you realize that, it's not someone else's responsibility once you're an adult to sort your own life out, it's your responsibility. And we all talk about collective consciousness, and I think we all believe in that, and we understand how, it's very well known that one bad apple in the office can change the whole atmosphere, just like that. And same thing in a party or in a family dynamic. So don't be that bad apple. Be the person that can learn to lift themselves up so you can change. Because if we want to, there's so much being thrown at us to keep us in a fear vibration. We've got to up our game now and share the tools and techniques that work for us all. Try different things out. If that doesn't work, try something else for you.
Oh, absolutely. You can even, there are times when when I'm feeling like down or depressed about something, I'll just put some music on
Mm.
that is the opposite vibration, and, dance a little bit. It's funny. I was thinking as you're about animals too, like, dogs get what they call the zoomies.
Yes.
And so what's happening is they've got some energy that they feel that they're trying to shake it out. They're trying to work it out. And so I think it's hysterical. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. It was a couple of days ago. We went out on a WALK. I have to censor that word because my dog knows that word and you'll hear him barking soon. We went on a WALK, and there were a lot of other dogs out because it was a beautiful day out. And I think Ravi was on the scent of a dog in heat.
Mm.
His nose was on the ground. You could just tell it was different. When we got back home, and he was the funniest little dog the whole day because his energy was like very spicy and he was very, and he had his little, you could tell from his boy bits that something was going on. But just talking about energy, the fact that there was an energy in him that he had to go work out after that because he doesn't have a girlfriend. So he had to go like work that out. I hope that makes sense with his
Yeah.
body. Now we're learning that from they recognize, the animals have an innate ability to recognize a powerful energy, whether that's stress or anxiety or, a dog in heat, and then they immediately go to take action to try to transmute that. And so with human beings, and I read a great book in India once, and it's in my trunk in India. I can't remember the name of it, but the psychiatrist was talking about this too, and he talked about the shaking thing, that
Yeah.
animals, when they are under a stress, they don't hold on to that stress, they shake it off, and then that's it. Whereas humans will hold on to it, contemplate it, think about it, replay it. And then that causes that energy to magnify instead of actually saying, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Now it's my power, it's my responsibility to change that. Whether again that's working out or going to work at a food bank or calling a good friend that you like to laugh with or watching a funny movie like Legally Blonde or something, just to shift that focus.
Yeah, I love it. And I think recognizing that we can transmute any form of energy, and we can transmute it in both ways for the positive or the negative. And once you have that realization, hopefully most people have got someone around you that's good, whether it's an animal, can see mine in the background, whether it's another human in your life that can give you honest feedback about, come on now, snap out of it. How often does a good friend say that to you? We've had conversations in the past where it makes me laugh to think about it now, where something's been really triggering, and then we laugh because you're speaking about it to one of your friends, and then you're like, why are you listening to it? And you're like, oh yes, why would I choose to listen to something that I know is going to really trigger me if there's not something positive I can do for that information? So of course, some of the atrocities, like understanding what's in our water, might be really important, and it might make you cross and angry or all sorts of emotions, or sad or helpless, but then you can go and do something about it because you can research really good water filters about what you can do about it. So this is the thing, is when we realize that we always have that choice available to us, then we can then try out all these different things that work for me. So for me, exercise works all the time. And also singing, because when I hear myself sing, it's so bad, it really makes me laugh. So, I'm not going to make any choirs at the moment.
Well, and just understanding that that's the thing too. It's like when something like bad happens to you, or you're feeling that depression or that anxiety, you're not being punished.
Yeah.
That's the friction we're talking about. Like if everything was really hunky dory all the time, we would never evolve. And so when those things come to you, okay, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to really transmute that yourself. And instead of being like, woe is me, it's so bad, blah, 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 and I will say too, like I told you, Catherine, like right before you guys brought the Asea to my attention, I decided that I started journaling again, but my journal was, I wrote down what was going on, but I also said, now this is what I want to happen. This is what I'm praying and what I'm putting out there, how this situation will change. And one of the things I wrote about was financial issues.
Yeah.
Immediately the Asea was brought to my attention, and that's totally changed everything. And so when you change, they say what you resist will persist. So if you resist the change, if you resist taking that power back, then you're never going to have your power to begin with. But once you actually work on it and you take the reins of control back, everything changes for you. You stop becoming a victim to your own thoughts, or a victim to the
Mm.
circumstances you think that you're in, because all limitations are self-imposed limitations anyway, really.
Yeah.
It's really just self-imposed. So yeah, I just hope people watching understand how freaking powerful you actually are.
And all these opportunities are being presented to us all the time. But when we're in a low mood, we can't recognize them. We don't see them. This is the case. So people watching this will really understand better than most members of the general public, because we use the saying all the time, the Wayne Dyer, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Every single person watching this will have been on their own unique awakening journey. And we've all learned an awful lot of things over the last few years. Some of us have known for longer. Some of us, it's been quite a quick process. Wherever you are on your journey, where suddenly the light bulb goes off, and taking back control. We live in a world at the moment that we still need money to survive. Financial pressure is incredibly stressful, particularly if you're in a situation where you've got people that are dependent on you. If you've got a family, whether that's two-legged or four-legged, if you haven't got any sort of bailout plans or something, we all recognize that financial pressure can be a sapper of energy from people in a massive, massive way, and make them feel like they've got less choices. And so many people have had hideous situations happen to them over the last few years, where what they thought was a stable income has been taken away for various reasons. We all know what those are. So when we realize that, to me, it's about understanding the law of the universe that we're working with at the moment. So trying to change something that you don't have the ability to change. We are living in this world at the moment where this is the way we operate. So how can we make that easier for ourselves without supporting nefarious activities?
Well, I mean, I think with the income, like I was telling people with Asea, like there are companies out there that are good. And the one thing that got me with Asea the most to support that company, to be a part of that company, was that the main person did not sell out to the big,
Yeah.
big, I'm not going to even say the name, you guys, because of, but the big, these people, right? Um, didn't sell out. And that was what got me. I was like, okay, this guy's
Completely.
integrity is aligned with me. There are companies out there. Listen, I'm going to, people, I think sometimes we get so inundated with the bad guys.
Yes.
I'm gonna take, and I know we keep saying this, it's coming. We're gonna do an episode with Mr. Fox and Law of One, but something very simple I want to point out with this. We are on a third density planet, right? So we have both the dark and the light. We're not on a fourth density negative or a fourth density positive yet. So what does that mean? Yes, there are bad guys, but equally, there are good guys.
Yeah.
There has to be. The yuckiest stuff you see on this planet, guess what? It's matched by the most beautiful light. So if you focus on the yucky stuff and you turn your back away and don't see the light, that's not the light's fault. It's still there. You have to turn and look and realize that just because there's darkness, that means there also has to be light. So there are ways. If you are in a company where you feel like you're not aligned, or they're going to take away your income, or something's not matching, start looking around you. Put it out there. Ask. That's one of the Bible verses I love. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open unto you. So ask, look, find. Like I said in my journal entries, I needed to change my finances, needed to shift and change. I didn't know how that, be open to possibilities that you didn't even consider, because I didn't even know about Asea. And then like literally the next day, Catherine told me about Asea. Right. So be open to understanding that there is equally that much good in the world too. And so if your source of income is being controlled by a company, and they don't even necessarily have to be bad guys, it could just be people you don't like,
Yeah.
or you're going to lose it. There are other opportunities. And it's a cheesy saying, but it's true. Whenever God shuts a door, he opens a window. So sometimes instead of getting caught in this depression of, oh, I've lost everything, it's all gone, woe is me, you could actually be in that moment, you could be being redirected towards a better path, right? And it's up to you to see that, though. It's up
Yeah.
to you to say, okay, my very wealthy grandfather used to say that he would say, everything in this world can be taken away from you. Everything. Your spouse could leave, your kids could leave, they could come take your house from you. The one thing they can't take from you is you. You control you. You are you. And so you have that power to have. I mean, I know people who have been very wealthy. And then I remember in the housing crisis in like 2008, one of my mom's really good friends, they were doing really well. And when all that happened and the recession hit, a lot of people lost everything. And my mom's friend was out at the tennis courts playing, and her husband drove up and said, we got to go. I've literally just lost everything. And she goes, okay, now we figure it out. They didn't harp on it. They just said, now we got to figure out. Our friend Angie, my friend Angie, that Fickle Pickles, same thing happened with her in 2008. She's told that story where her husband's company crashed.
Yeah.
So she started pickling. And all of a sudden she is in all these magazines all over the Southeast and picked up from all. So but if you had sat and woe is me, this is awful, instead of actually being, okay, this is the hand I'm dealt right now. What am I going to do with it?
And it's never been more important to do this. I mean, I know we humans and things we've gone through terrible times in the past. When I'm feeling down, the other thing that helps me is thinking it could be worse. I could be a rabbit or a mouse, because I saw a rabbit the other day, and first of all, it was being chased by a bird of prey and then by a fox. And I was thinking, I'm not going to complain about anything today. I'm not a rabbit. Rabbits look cute and fluffy, but trust me, it's stressful being a wild rabbit. So but resourcefulness, in all seriousness, is such a skill, and it's one like any muscle you can build when you use it. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So
Yeah.
experiment. Don't wait for things to go disastrously long. If you can, if things have got to that stage, that's fine. There's countless examples of how amazingly resourceful humans are in all sorts of atrocious situations. Just look at some of the stories from the wars, etc., and see how resilient and how resourceful our bodies are. So resilient. What we can recover from is amazing if we give it the right inputs, and thought is probably the most important one of that. So we are so resourceful. Whatever's going on in our outside world, we will cope with it. We will cope with it, and we'll cope with it by sharing these ideas, by sharing what works, by being there to support people, by stop competing and being in communities with each other. It's so, so important. And I'm so hopeful, actually. You know, every time when you sort of go down, you can allow yourself. We're not talking about suppressing your emotions. I hope people realize we are really not talking about suppressing your emotions. Allow yourself to feel it and then take action.
Oh yeah, like I wake this morning when I had the anxiety, every time I punched in the kickboxing, I was like, I felt myself mentally say, take the anxiety and punch, use the energy to just shake it off. It wasn't suppressing, it was actually pulling it up and dealing with it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and that is, and I feel like I need to say too, if I also want, I had somebody contacting me about the Mr. Fox organic portal episode and how much that had helped them realize certain people in their life were causing them to go mentally into dark places.
Yeah.
If there is someone in your life that is making you walk on eggshells, or someone in your life that's making you feel like shit, put a boundary up and see how your thoughts change once that boundary is put up. You don't deserve to have someone in your life that's going to be doing that to you. That's not why you came. You didn't come to earth to be subservient to another human being. Nobody owns your soul but you, right? So that's another thing you can do too. Take inventory of the people in your lives. And I've made those mistakes. Like, take the inventory and then just be like, you know what? This relationship is not healthy for me. It's not. And you're right. I will say, you just said something really important, Catherine. And about a good friend will tell you when maybe this isn't the best thing for you. I was watching, I had my YouTube up just playing videos the other day, and everybody knows I'm a fan of reality TV. Well, there was this old reality TV person that was on TV like 10 years ago. And she was great on TV. People keep wanting her to come back and do. Anyway, she's being interviewed on this YouTube channel. And she said something very, very impactful. And I think this is really good for, especially for people like Catherine and me. You know, when you're a public person and you get those negative comments from the trolls, they do kind of irk you.
Mm.
But just importantly, you have to be careful of the positive ones too,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because she even said a real friend is a person who knows you and will tell you when something's not right.
Mm.
Right. And so I thought that's so fascinating because she even told her kids when they got famous, like, don't even look at the positive comments. Just don't even look at your comment section.
Yeah.
And
It's
so I,
so important because this love bombing is a real thing. And so much important. I'm so pleased you brought up about the boundaries because I've got some really good friends and we've had loads of conversations about this week. And actually, I was having a similar conversation with my daughter this morning. It's so, so important about once you get to the stage that you recognize it, and it doesn't matter, folks, how long it takes you to get there. Don't beat yourself up. There's nothing wrong with being a nice human that sees the best in people. But once you realize that is a negative relationship for you, you can make a conscious choice to put a boundary up from a place of love. It doesn't mean you have to wish that person ill, but there's a lot of unhealthy relationships going on at the moment. And it's so important that we take a step back and remove ourselves from those, because if you're feeling like that, sometimes by allowing that relationship to continue on, we can almost be condoning the behavior and giving positive reinforcement unknown to us back to that person. It's very easy for someone else to see it. It can be very hard when you're in the middle of it. So all I would say, and I saw your latest conversation with the gorgeous Kelly Thiel as well, is be a friend where you're prepared to have those difficult conversations, but don't be attached to when your friend listens to them.
exactly, exactly. And, you know, I think we've been conditioned a lot in our society to be martyrs and
Mm,
to think that we have to save everyone. And I will say, and Mr. Fox will talk about this, even the law of one says being a martyr is a negative trait.
yeah,
A healthy relation, you can wish someone well and not be in their circle, right? And you can hope
absolutely.
that maybe they correct and they course correct and things can be right, but you can't control that. The only thing again you control is you. And if you're depleted of energy and you're giving and you feel like you're walking on eggshells, you are not in a that is not a good place vibratory for you to be. There are friendships out there where you don't have to walk on eggshells. There are friendships out there where you can be you and it's fine, right? So I would really highly suggest, if you are someone that's perpetually feeling like anxiety and depression, take inventory of who's in your life. Take inventory of the people in there, and their presence, how it influences you, right? And then once you start to see those patterns, you don't have to make a big dramatic scene about it. You can just start pulling away and just kind of start keeping people, and start to protect yourself, right? Your true
I love it.
friends will allow you to do that. Your true friends will want you to do things to better yourself, right? So
Yeah. And also they'll allow you times to be human. So my friend Susie sent me this lovely thing today. I'll put it on my Telegram channel after this. And it's just someone talking in an interview and saying, you know, Monday I woke up feeling absolutely amazing and my energy was on top of the world. I was a joy to be around. Tuesday I'd had bad sleep. I've made bad food choices. I was down. I wasn't very vibrant. Wednesday I was in a really dark place. I snapped at people. Thursday, I recognized it. And I mean, I'm paraphrasing, it wasn't exactly this, but, you know, Thursday, I recognized it and I started to take corrective action. Friday, I was back on form again. But your friends will allow you to have these human cycles of emotions. We don't want to be robots. That is not what we're heading for. We want to have friends, but equally, the power of the word sorry is really, really powerful. And if you sort of think, gosh, I realized I was having a bad day, I might have snapped a bit or said something that wasn't, you know, from a great place, then just say sorry. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. Take accountability for it, because, you know, taking accountability where we haven't acted in the way that we wanted to is really, really important to moving ourselves forward. Because if you don't say sorry, you will be carrying that emotion with you still.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you can let it go. And I'm just feeling inclined to say this. I don't know why, but if you're watching right now and you find yourself, I guess, bring up the Kelly Till interview. If you think you're in a narcissistically abusive relationship with like a partner, and I know what that feels like, to feel like you can't get out of it, like those can be very dangerous. If you would like to email me at esotericatlanta@gmail.com, just put narcissistic or narcissism in the subject line. I can try to help you find resources, because I don't know why I'm feeling inclined to say this. Maybe there's somebody listening who needs to hear this. Wherever you live in the world, there are resources for people to help you get yourself out of that situation, because I know sometimes it's easier said than done. And if it's just a friendship that's a little toxic, it's
Right.
very different than if you're in like a relationship where you're living with somebody or in business with somebody and you feel like you can't move because there are consequences to that are could hurt other people or whatever this case may be. I'm not judging that. Just email me and I will personally help look in your area, because I've been through this, and try to find someone for you to help you get yourself out of this situation, whether that's a therapist, whether that's a therapist who works with law enforcement. There are some situations where they will work with law enforcement to make sure that you are safe when you remove yourself from the situation. So please, if you're sitting here watching this thinking, oh, it's easy for you guys to say because I'm in this situation and I can't, I understand. I've been there. Just email me at esotericatlanta@gmail.com and just put narcissism or something like that in the subject, so I see it, because I get a lot of emails, so I can immediately open it for you and try to help you out. So it's
Perfect. Perfect place to end. I think, you know, let us know what you think in the comments below. Absolutely. Please do let us know what you think. Let us know what's working for you. Is really, really important, because you sharing something could really, really help someone else that's looking as well. And we will be back next week. By the time we come back next week, we will officially, so exciting, Brice, I can tell you excited, have a new King of England.
oh,
I just could tell everyone watching is on tenterhooks for that. Obviously,
I forgot about them.
so have I, but I'm laying it and you can see the smirk on my face, because obviously, but we've got to have a laugh at things. So let's see what this weekend brings for the UK.
Talk about pathetic. When most people are at retiring age, he now has his first job. So
Yeah, I'm watching with a sense of unattached amusement to see what happens, and I will report back next week. But suffice to say, I haven't got my flags up outside. so yeah. But there we go. On that note, laughter is the best therapy. We can all have a watch and see which puppet is playing it on the actual day.
Well, I was about to say, at least everybody watching, you're cuter than the King of England. So
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much, Brice. We will be back next week, and take care, everyone. Enjoy.
bye, guys.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. My goal is to inspire as many people as I can to live their best lives, to stay curious, and to raise their consciousness and that of the collective. So to do this, I need to reach as many people as possible, and this needs your help. If you feel drawn, would you be willing to share your favourite episode with 5 different people? This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. If you feel drawn to do that, I will be very, very grateful. All the links and discount codes where applicable for all the products that I support are on my 2 websites, catherineedwards.life and catherineedwardsacademy.com. All of the products are personally tried and tested by me, my family, and my clients. And finally, please do press the follow or subscribe button, depending which platform you're listening on. And above all, stay curious and stay free.